Hot shots, mocked war movies, macho heroes, and Hollywood ego. It made audiences laugh, left critics unimpressed, and seemed destined to fade away. But once the cameras stopped, everything changed. From shocking rumors to unexpected deaths, the cast's real lives took turns no one saw coming. This is what really happened, and why their stories still matter. Charlie Sheen as Topper Harley. Charlie Sheen was born on September 3, 1965, in New York City, United States. At 26 years old, he played Topper Harley, the fearless parody ace pilot, in Hot Shots, 1991, and returned at 28 in Hot Shots. Part 2, 1993. His dead serious delivery turned absurdity into credibility and carried the film's humor. That confidence did not come from a calm beginning. Sheen grew up inside a famous but unstable household, moving frequently as his father Martin Sheen chased stage and film work, while discipline at home remained inconsistent. He was expelled from Santa Monica High School shortly before graduation, even as he secretly filmed amateur movies that hinted at future roles in Platoon and Wall Street. Success arrived fast, and so did chaos. Sheen married Donna Peel in 1995, divorced within a year, then entered a turbulent marriage with Denise Richards while starring on Spin City and later 2.5 Men. Accusations of substance abuse, threats, and explosive arguments turned private conflict into tabloid warfare, while fame only amplified the damage. The collapse had a medical core few understood at the time. Around 2011, as his public meltdown dominated headlines, Sheen was privately living with an HIV diagnosis, later revealed in 2015. Addiction, exhaustion, and secrecy collided, transforming the firing from 2.5 Men into a personal freefall rather than a career dispute. Today, Charlie Sheen is 61 years old, managing his health with treatment and choosing limited acting and documentary appearances. Once television's highest-paid star, his estimated net worth stands near $10 million. A reminder that survival, not dominance, defines this chapter of his life. Valeria Golino as Ramada Thompson. Valeria Golino was born on October 22, 1965, in Naples, Italy. At 26 years old, she played Ramada Thompson, the intelligent romantic anchor, in Hot Shots, 1991, and reprised the role at 28 in Hot Shots. Part 2, 1993. Her presence gave the parody balance, elegance, and emotional contrast. That composure was learned early. As a child, Golino was diagnosed with severe scoliosis and spent years undergoing treatment and surgery while growing up between Athens and southern Italy. During this period, she entered cinema through A Joke of Destiny, and later stunned critics in A Tale of Love, even while living with constant physical strain. Adulthood brought recognition but little stability. Golino's relationships with Peter Del Monte, Benicio del Toro, and later Riccardo Scamarcio unfolded alongside international work such as Rain Man and Hot Shots. Career timing repeatedly collided with intimacy, leaving long partnerships but no marriage and no children. Health never stepped out of the picture. Lingering spinal issues limited endurance and forced her to decline major projects, including roles that could have reshaped her Hollywood standing. Instead, she redirected focus toward European cinema and directing, earning renewed respect with Honey and later Euphoria. Now, Valeria Golino is 61 years old and continues working quietly as an actress and director, avoiding celebrity spectacle. With an estimated net worth of about $10 million, her story stands as one of restraint, persistence, and a career built on control rather than collapse. Lloyd Bridges as Admiral Benson/Tug Benson. Lloyd Bridges was born on January 15, 1913 in San Leandro, California, United States. At 78 years old, he played Admiral Benson, the absurdly serious authority figure, in Hot Shots, 1991, and returned at 80 as Tug Benson in Hot Shots, Part 2, 1993. His straight-faced delivery gave the parody its sharpest contrast and elevated the film's satire. That late career confidence came from years of quiet struggle. Bridges grew up in a working family tied to hotels and movie theaters, entered acting early, but was repeatedly sidelined into minor roles and B pictures at Columbia Pictures. While appearing in projects like Freshman Love and stage productions such as Othello, he was told he lacked the maturity for leading roles, a frustration that followed him into the early 1940s. Stability arrived through marriage, even as the industry tested him. Bridges married Dorothy Simpson in 1938, and their relationship lasted 6 decades, including a vow renewal for their 50th anniversary. Yet tragedy struck when their infant son Garrett died suddenly in 1948, a loss that haunted the family even as Bridges rebuilt his career through High Noon and later television success with Sea Hunt. The pressure intensified during the political climate of the 1950s. Bridges was briefly blacklisted after being linked to left-leaning theater groups, forcing him to testify before Congress to protect his livelihood. Though the ordeal damaged his reputation, it also pushed him toward television, where emotional performances and later comedy reinvention in Airplane restored his standing. Sadly, he died on March 10, 1998, at the age of 85 from natural causes, leaving behind a career spanning more than 150 films. With an estimated net worth of about $15 million at the time of his death, he was remembered not only for longevity, but for turning late-career comedy into an unexpected triumph. Ryan Stiles as Mailman Farnum/Rabinowitz. Ryan Stiles was born on April 22, 1959, in Seattle, Washington, United States. At 32 years old, he played Mailman Farnum in Hot Shots, 1991, and returned at 34 as Rabinowitz in Hot Shots, Part 2, 1993. His quick timing and physical comedy added a layer of unpredictability that sharpened the film's humor. That ease with chaos began early. Stiles moved with his family to Vancouver at age 10, a change that disrupted routine and structure during his formative years. As a teenager, he left high school just before graduation, choosing stage time over classrooms while slowly finding his voice through stand-up and improv clubs that later fed into Whose Line Is It Anyway? Commitment in his personal life followed a different path. Stiles met Patricia McDonald in 1981 and married her in 1988, building a steady family life with 3 children while his career expanded. During this period, he balanced improvisational fame with scripted television, becoming a familiar presence on The Drew Carey Show alongside his improv work. Health never defined his story, but discipline did. Unlike many comedians of his era, Stiles channeled energy into performance and philanthropy. His long run on Whose Line Is It Anyway, including the American revival, reinforced his reputation as a performer who thrived under pressure without self-destruction. Today, Ryan Stiles is 67 years old and remains active in comedy, live theater, and occasional television work. With an estimated net worth of around $8 million, he continues to support improv communities and charitable causes, standing out as a rare case of longevity built on balance rather than burnout. Cary Elwes as Kent Gregory. Cary Elwes was born on October 26, 1962, in Westminster, London, England. At 29 years old, he played Kent Gregory, the smug, picture-perfect rival pilot, in Hot Shots, 1991. His polished arrogance sharpened the parody by giving the hero someone audiences loved to hate. That confidence masked a brutal beginning. Elwes's parents divorced when he was 4, and when he was 13, his father died by suicide, a loss that shattered stability at home. He channeled grief into discipline, studying at Harrow School before relocating to the United States in 1981 to train as an actor, carrying emotional weight even as The Princess Bride later turned him into a global romantic icon. Love arrived slowly and was tested by circumstance. Elwes met photographer Lisa Marie Kurbikoff in 1991, the same year Hot Shots was released, and after a long engagement, they married in 2000. While his career expanded from Robin Hood, Men in Tights to darker turns like Saw, their family life remained private, built around protecting their daughter from Hollywood exposure. However, life delivered another shock decades later. In early 2025, Elwes and his family lost their California home to wildfires, a sudden displacement that reopened old emotional wounds tied to loss and instability. Though not a health crisis, the event marked a personal rupture, occurring as his career continued steadily through projects like Stranger Things and major studio films. In 2026, Cary Elwes is 64 years old and remains active as an actor, writer, and speaker, balancing studio films with character roles and public appearances. With an estimated net worth of around $6 million, his life now reflects endurance shaped by early trauma rather than effortless stardom. Jon Cryer as Jim Washout Pfaffenbach. Jon Cryer was born on April 16, 1965 in New York City, United States. At 26 years old, he played Jim Washout Pfaffenbach, the anxious, expendable pilot, in Hot Shots, 1991. His nervous energy amplified the film's absurdity by turning fear into comedy. That humor grew out of pressure at home. Raised by parents deeply rooted in theater and music, Cryer decided at 12 that he wanted to act, only to be warned by his mother to keep a backup plan. Training at Stage Door Manor and later studying Shakespeare in London, he carried insecurity into early success with Pretty in Pink, unsure whether fame would last. Marriage unfolded alongside professional setbacks. Cryer married Sarah Trigger in 1999 and welcomed a son, but the relationship collapsed in 2004 during years marked by canceled series and stalled momentum. Even as shows failed, he kept working, eventually finding personal stability after marrying Lisa Joyner in 2007 and adopting a daughter together. Career revival came with emotional cost. Cast as Alan Harper on 2.5 Men, Cryer endured a decade of intense production pressure, public scrutiny, and cast turmoil, yet the role finally brought validation. Winning 2 Emmy Awards transformed long-term rejection into recognition, rewriting the narrative of his resilience. Now, Jon Cryer is 61 years old and continues acting across television and film, including comic book roles and sitcom leads. With an estimated net worth near $70 million, his story stands as one of delayed triumph built on persistence rather than early certainty. Kristy Swanson as Kowalski. Kristy Swanson was born on December 19, 1969, in South Laguna, California, United States. At 22 years old, she played Kowalski, the confident, sharp-edged female pilot, in Hot Shots, 1991. Her role added youthful energy and visual contrast to a comedy dominated by male bravado. That confidence was built early and quickly. Swanson grew up in Mission Viejo with 2 educator parents and entered show business at just 9 years old through television commercials. By her teens, she was already transitioning into film, earning attention in Deadly Friend and winning a Young Artist Award for Flowers in the Attic, proof that her rise came from momentum rather than struggle. Fame arrived fast, but stability came later. After leading roles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and The Phantom, Swanson's career moved between cult hits and box office disappointments, forcing her to balance visibility with reinvention. In 2009, she married former Olympic figure skater Lloyd Eisler, building a blended family that kept her personal life grounded as Hollywood interest cooled. Controversy replaced obscurity years later. Swanson publicly aligned herself with pro-Trump politics and starred in a conservative stage production, a decision that triggered intense backlash and death threats. The hostility shocked many fans and reframed her image from former teen star to polarizing public figure. Today, Kristy Swanson is 57 years old and remains active through selective acting projects and public appearances. With an estimated net worth of around $5 million, her life now reflects endurance under scrutiny rather than fleeting stardom. William O'Leary as Pete "Dead Meat" Thompson. William O'Leary was born on October 19, 1957, in Chicago, Illinois, United States. At 34 years old, he played Pete "Dead Meat" Thompson, the ill-fated pilot, in Hot Shots, 1991. His character embodied the film's dark humor, turning death into punchline. That late arrival to film was deliberate. O'Leary pursued formal training rather than quick fame, earning degrees in acting before stepping onto Broadway in Precious Sons. Early screen roles followed slowly, allowing him to refine his craft away from the spotlight before audiences recognized him. Television brought his most stable years. Cast as Marty Taylor on Home Improvement, O'Leary spent 5 seasons as part of a mainstream hit, while also taking on darker roles, including the villain Zaviax in Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. His career avoided extremes, favoring consistency over celebrity. Now, William O'Leary is 69 years old and continues to work intermittently in television and voice projects. With an estimated net worth of about $2 million, his legacy rests on longevity, professionalism, and survival outside the Hollywood spotlight. Efrem Zimbalist Jr. as Wilson. Efrem Zimbalist Jr. was born on November 30, 1918, in New York City, United States. At 73 years old, he played Wilson, the unshakable voice of authority, in Hot Shots, 1991. His calm seriousness became the perfect anchor that allowed the film's absurd humor to land. That authority was earned, not inherited. Growing up in a household led by world-famous classical musicians, Zimbalist struggled academically and was expelled from Yale twice for poor grades. With formal education closed off, he rebuilt his path through radio work at NBC and stage training, slowly proving himself until Broadway roles and post-war television opened the door to lasting recognition. Career momentum arrived with relentless pressure. Zimbalist's breakthrough on 77 Sunset Strip turned him into a television icon almost overnight, followed by nearly a decade leading the FBI. The workload was intense, but it secured his reputation as one of television's most dependable leading men. Personal life carried quieter pain. He married Emily McNair in 1941, and her death from cancer in 1950 devastated him at the height of early success. A second marriage to Loranda Spalding ended in divorce, adding emotional strain during years when public perception showed only confidence and control. Finally, he died on May 2, 2014, at age 95 from natural causes. With an estimated net worth of about $5 million at the time of his death, he left behind a legacy defined by endurance, professionalism, and a voice that carried authority until the very end. Richard Crenna as Colonel Denton Walters. Richard Crenna was born on November 30, 1926, in Los Angeles, California, United States. At 67 years old, he played Colonel Denton Walters in Hot Shots, Part 2, 1993. By parodying his own tough-as-steel image, he gave the comedy a knowing edge. Discipline shaped him early. Crenna began acting as a child on radio, then paused his career to serve in the U.S. Army during World War II before returning to performance with renewed focus. Early television success came through Our Miss Brooks and later, The Real McCoys. Career peaks came in waves, not shortcuts. After years of respected but unspectacular roles, Crenna redefined himself with dramatic authority in films like The Sand Pebbles, and later reached global fame as Colonel Troutman in the Rambo series. That persona made his turn in Hot Shots. Part 2 especially effective, as audiences recognized the joke instantly. Private life held both rebuilding and resolve. His first marriage to Joan Grisham ended in divorce, a setback during his early rise. Stability followed with Penny Sweeney, whom he married in 1959, raising 3 children while balancing television, film, and directing responsibilities. Sadly, he died on January 17, 2003, at age 76 in Los Angeles, from heart failure complicated by pancreatic cancer. With an estimated net worth of about $10 million at his death, he was remembered as a performer who carried authority with restraint and knew exactly when to laugh at it. Miguel Ferrer as Harbinger. Miguel Ferrer was born on February 7, 1955 in Santa Monica, California. At 38 years old, he played Harbinger, the ruthless, iron-fisted commander, in Hot Shots, Part 2. His icy delivery and merciless authority didn't just parody military power, they gave the film a real sense of danger hiding beneath the jokes. That controlled severity began at home. Growing up in Hollywood, Miguel was surrounded by fame from birth. His father, Jose Ferrer, was a celebrated actor, his mother, Rosemary Clooney, a legendary singer, and family gatherings included names like George Clooney. Yet instead of acting, Miguel leaned into music, becoming a serious drummer, trying to escape the expectations attached to his last name. That tension quietly shaped his drive. Acting found him anyway, and it hit hard. His breakout as Bob Morton in RoboCop turned him into one of cinema's most memorable corporate villains, sharp-tongued and brutally ambitious. Soon after, Twin Peaks transformed him again as Albert Rosenfield, a character dripping with sarcasm and contempt, cementing Ferrer as Hollywood's go-to embodiment of institutional power and moral decay. Success was steady, but the roles rarely softened. Off-screen, stability proved harder to hold. His marriage to actress Leilani Sarel in 1991 coincided with non-stop work, long separations, and mounting pressure, ending in divorce in 2003. A second marriage to producer Laurie Weintraub brought emotional grounding, even as Ferrer juggled demanding television schedules on Crossing Jordan and NCIS Los Angeles, often working through exhaustion without complaint. Illness arrived quietly and stayed brutal. Diagnosed with throat cancer, Miguel Ferrer continued working, even returning for Twin Peaks in 2017, refusing to step away from the craft that defined him. He died on January 19, 2017, at age 61, from complications of the disease, leaving behind a legacy of razor-sharp performances and an estimated net worth of $2 million. Proof that endurance, not comfort, defined his life. Rowan Atkinson as Dexter Heyman. Rowan Atkinson was born on January 6, 1955, in Consett, England. At 38 years old, he played Dexter Heyman, the painfully earnest British agent, in Hot Shots Part 2. His restrained absurdity acted as a counterweight to the film's chaos, making every reaction land harder. That restraint was born from early struggle. Raised in rural England, Atkinson grew up with grief after losing a brother and daily frustration caused by a severe stutter. Silence became both a refuge and a weapon. Physical expression replaced speech, and comedy slowly emerged as a form of control. Academic excellence followed, but performance became the true escape. Recognition came fast, and boxed him in. From Blackadder to the global explosion of Mr. Bean, Atkinson became one of the most recognizable faces on Earth. Films like 4 Weddings and a Funeral and voice work in The Lion King proved his range, yet the success of Bean trapped him inside a persona built on physical limitation and emotional isolation, mirroring struggles he never fully escaped. His private life unraveled under the spotlight. Married to Sunetra Sastry in 1990, he built a family away from fame, but years of pressure ended the marriage in 2015. A later relationship with Louise Ford brought another child, but also relentless media scrutiny, turning personal change into public spectacle and forcing Atkinson further inward. Today, at 71 years old, Rowan Atkinson works selectively, protecting his privacy while maintaining a cultural empire few can rival. With an estimated net worth of $150 million, his story isn't about laughter alone, it's about control, silence, and surviving the weight of global recognition. Brenda Bakke as Michelle Rodham Huddleston. Brenda Bakke was born on May 15, 1963 in Klamath Falls, Oregon. At 30 years old, she played Michelle Rodham Huddleston, the sharp, confident love interest in Hot Shots Part 2, 1993. Her presence gave the parody a rare sense of glamour and sincerity amid the chaos. Her path into acting began early, but without fanfare. Raised far from Hollywood's spotlight, Bakke gravitated toward performance as a teenager, stepping onto the stage at just 15 before moving to Los Angeles to study at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Unlike many of her peers, there was no instant breakthrough, only auditions, small roles, and steady persistence that slowly built her resume. However, the mid-1990s marked her busiest and most demanding stretch. After Hot Shots Part 2, she moved through a string of genre films like Demon Knight and Under Siege 2, balancing action roles with darker material. Television offered brief stability with American Gothic, but it was L.A. Confidential that placed her inside one of the decade's most critically acclaimed films, even as her role remained supporting rather than transformative. Career consistency did not always mean security. As Hollywood shifted toward younger leads and franchise-driven casting, Bakke found herself moving between guest appearances on series like CSI, NYPD Blue, and Supernatural. The work remained steady, but the spotlight narrowed, forcing her to adapt rather than retreat. At 63 years old, Brenda Bakke continues to work selectively, maintaining a quiet presence in television while staying largely outside celebrity culture. With an estimated net worth of around $1 million, her career reflects endurance more than excess. Proof that not every Hollywood story ends loudly, but some last longer because they never burned out. Kevin Dunn as Lieutenant Commander Block. Kevin Dunn was born on August 24, 1956, in Chicago, Illinois. At 35 years old, he played Lieutenant Commander Block, the perpetually exasperated officer, in Hot Shots, 1991. His grounded frustration became the perfect foil for the film's absurdity, making the comedy feel sharper and more believable. His foundation was built far from movie sets. Raised in a working, artistic household with a musician father and a nurse mother, Dunn came up through theater rather than film, performing relentlessly on Chicago stages. That discipline shaped an actor comfortable in supporting roles, one who understood timing, restraint, and the power of reaction. Hollywood rewarded reliability, not stardom. Throughout the 1990s, Dunn became a familiar face in films like Dave, Godzilla, and Small Soldiers, often cast as authority figures caught between chaos and responsibility. Later, blockbuster exposure came through the Transformers series, where his everyman energy grounded spectacle-heavy storytelling. Television deepened his reputation. Roles in Veep showcased a sharper, darker comedic edge, earning critical praise and Emmy attention, while appearances in True Detective and The Mosquito Coast proved his adaptability across genres. Dunn never chased leading man status. He mastered presence instead. Now, at 70 years old, Kevin Dunn remains active in film and television, respected as one of Hollywood's most dependable character actors. With an estimated net worth of about $4 million, his career stands as a quiet testament to longevity built on craft rather than celebrity. Decades after Hot Shots, 1 to 2, made audiences laugh, the cast's real stories turned out to be far more unpredictable than the jokes on screen. Some found lasting success, some faded quietly, and others fought battles no one ever saw coming. So when you look at where they are now, which transformation surprised you the most? Share your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed revisiting the cast then and now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more untold Hollywood stories.